live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am one of your co-hosts, Blake Ruffino. Alongside me is my counterpart and co-host, Joe DeLeone. Good evening, good sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, Blake. We are just mere days away from college football being back, and I'm incredibly excited because we're going to start a new version of our pick segment, which means I now have an advantage. We're not doing straight picks for you to cheat away at. I can actually beat you with some bets that we're going to be placing later on in the show.
Wouldn't it be easier to just do outright picks?
No.
It would be easier to do outright picks. You just suck.
No. It's okay. It's obviously easier to do outright picks for the baseline picks, but for the real degenerates like me who are fantastic at placing college football bets, I'm going to be able to win this.
Didn't you go below 50% last year?
No, I did not. Don't do that to me. I will go. Okay. I can go double check what our record was. We both had good records, but during the college season, I was over 60% on my college football bets, which is very hard to come by.
You bet with your heart last year, Joseph, not with your head.
That's not true.
That's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. Nevertheless, we are live. As you can see, I'm in a little different studio. So yes, I don't have internet back at the old studio, so we're at somewhere else. But that's not what I got to start off the show with you. Remember when we did our show last week and we previewed Iowa State and Kansas State from Ireland? And I said, Iowa State fans, last year I had a reference to West Virginia and their quarterback, Garrett Green. When I say this about Rocco Becht, don't come at me. Have you seen Twitter today?
Oh, are they coming at you?
Oh,
no. How have I missed this?
I will send you the link. Hold on. I'm sending you the link right now. They are calling me out. I am bookmarking tweets. It is a full-on barrage of last season.
What you said wasn't even that critical.
I didn't say anything critical at all, but they are attacking me again, and I warned them, don't do this.
I need to see what they're saying.
All right, I'm texting it to you right now.
That is going to be a mistake by Iowa State fans. It is really strange to me. I get it, wanting to support your guys, but if you point out that a guy has poor completion percentage and that his two best receivers are gone, it's a pretty valid argument. It's a pretty normal, valid argument to make.
I just texted it to you. They're after me. So I'm not going to say anything to the Iowa State fans, but go read the comments.
Oh, come on.
Please, dear Lord, go read the comments. They are becoming unhinged.
He gave us free engagement. That's all that matters.
I told them they better watch out. They better watch out. I warned them. You better hope that you win because I will come with a vengeance. Nevertheless, we're live. Everybody do us a favor. Hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Joe, we got a lot to get into today. We'll break down Colorado and Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and South Carolina. We'll give our picks of week 0 between Kansas State, Stanford, Kansas, Fresno, Hawaii, Iowa State. We'll give all those picks here tonight. But tonight we got to start off with Notre Dame. The Fighting Irish have named their starting quarterback, that being C.J. Carr. A lot of people came out and thought that Kenny Minchey might be the guy, but it is C.J. Carr that's going to get the first snaps against the University of Miami. Your thoughts on this situation?
My understanding of what happened with this, Kenny Minchey and C.J. Carr were in a tight battle in the spring. Kenny Minchey had the better start to fall practices, and it looked like he was trending towards being the starter. Carr finished strong with the final scrimmage. And I think that for Notre Dame fans, I have a feeling you're going to agree with or disagree with a lot of these things I'm about to say. I think for Notre Dame fans, Carr finishing strong the way that he did, enough so that he was able to win the job, has a very positive angle to it. He was staring down the barrel. This is a redshirt freshman, and he was in danger of not starting this season. and he saw an opportunity that he had to step up for the occasion. Those are the types of guys you want a quarterback. It doesn't mean everything, but I think that there's something to be pulled from that, and it could mean his competitiveness showed up when it needed to. The other part with this, though, outside of just the performance aspect, I think the big reason why Carr ends up getting the job here is that if you started Kenny Minchey, who is an older player, but not by much eligibility, than CJ Carr, Carr would have transferred. Carr was a highly touted recruit. It would have been a waste of his time to sit. He would have been better off leaving and going somewhere else if he didn't start in his eyes. If he leaves and goes somewhere else and he's still young and he develops to the potential that everybody saw that he had and he does it somewhere else, coaching staff looks really dumb. I think that they thought they were both evenly matched and that Kenny was just a little bit more experienced, having been around the team longer, was why it was so close. But the long-term outlook of this, it makes more sense to go with CJ Carr in order to keep him in the mix and for the future of this program for hopefully the next 3 years.
Do you remember the conversation we had on Monday about this position battle?
Yes.
What did I say?
Well, off air or on air?
Let's not go off air. Let's go on air.
What did you say then?
What I said was, when a team, regardless of who your team is, when your team and the media or the fan base is assuming it's going to be one guy, when you don't come out immediately that next day or the Tuesday thereof and name somebody, that means that conversations behind closed doors are happening. Everything that you just said is not what we think happened. Joe, it's what happened. This happens every year. Now, we're not really going to dive into Missouri, but it's exactly what happened at Missouri, too. Notre Dame's just obviously a much more prolific program with more prolific quarterbacks that we don't monitor this. Joe, it happens everywhere. When you do not come out that Monday and name who your guy is, this was always inevitable. Now, if you remember on that Monday, I said, Joe, there's something brewing here because they keep posting clips of CJ Carr on Twitter and on Instagram. If he wasn't going to be the guy, they wouldn't have posted that. If it would have been Kenny Minchey, they would have posted Kenny Minchey. They were telling you what they wanted to tell you before anything ever, quote unquote, broke. Joe, here's what I know. Denbrock don't give two Rudy Poos who you are. The better quarterback's going to play, and apparently CJ Carr beat him out. If you go look on their social media, what they pushed out, we're not there. Joe, there were some elite freaking throws he made into coverage against a really good secondary. When you're staring adversity in the face, I think you put it best here. When you're staring adversity in the face and you got to overcome it, you've always been Lloyd Carr's son, grandson. You've always been ultra talented. This is Notre Dame. This is D1 football. Like, nobody's going to give you shit. They don't care who you are. I think he did wind up winning it, and I don't think they're playing favorites. I will tell you this, and I know you're not going to like me saying this. The turnovers that everybody keeps reporting about, I don't give a shit if it's Notre Dame, LSU. I don't care who it is. It does worry me because I have always been of the belief. I did this to my own team a year ago and will chronicleize this from the very beginning. So this isn't a shot at Notre Dame. I'm not a believer that practice doesn't translate to games. I don't believe that. If that is and was still the case, what did Minchey do? What did Carr do? Are they going to have turnover issues going in Miami week 1? And listen, you're going to have to let Carr ride this thing, pause. But you can't just freak out on every little thing that he does either.
Yeah. I get what you're saying there. I agree with the statement that you said. The way that things happen in practice absolutely translate to what happens in games. But I think that I'm not trying to take a shot at LSU here. There's a bit of a difference in turnovers that happened last year in practice for LSU when their secondary was really bad, and for Notre Dame when they've got the best outside corner tandem in the country and one of the best safety groups in college football.
I can go to 2019 when it happened with Burrow.
I'm just saying
I get it.
I'm just saying that those challenges, it's problematic, and it only becomes problematic to me, Blake, if week 1 CJ Carr throws more than one interception. If that happens, then we can come back to this conversation and say, you know what? Yeah, those turnovers didn't eliminate themselves. If he doesn't turn the ball over, that to me is the proof of what I'm trying to get at here. Being challenged every single day helped prepare him, because the secondary he's seeing right now is better than the one he's going to face against Miami in week 1 and most of this, actually all of the schedule that he is going to face this entire year. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
You can't do that. You can't do that. All right. You know what? Fine. You're gonna learn this lesson. I'm telling you, you can't do that, Joe. All right. You go right on it. Joe, there are still other really good secondaries on your schedule. Okay? Yeah. Turnovers are turnovers, and they're going to happen. The report came out that there were 6 literally a week ago between the both of them. 6 in one practice. I don't care if it's the 1993 Dallas Cowboys with primetime. I don't give two Rudy Poos who it is. Decision-making is decision-making. So here's the ultimate question going in the Miami game, which we'll have to kind of re-break that game down now that Carr's been named the starter. Joe, does it worry you that you've had this up and down seesaw of who you think it's going to be at quarterback if you're Notre Dame?
No, and I've said this a number of times when there wasn't really clarity and there was a little bit of a delay. I was expecting that the quarterback competition was going to be named on Sunday, or it was going to come out sometime on Monday, and it ends up coming out after the Julian Sayin announcement. I'm not worried because, again, I really think that this was a circumstance, one of the fewer circumstances where you had 2 guys that would have been quality, reliable starters. The 2 guys before Minchie and Carr were shaky and inconsistent. Riley Leonard was a very inconsistent passer. He did a lot of great things for Notre Dame to help them get to a national championship game, but he made a lot of silly mistakes, in particular against Northern Illinois. Sam Hartman had a lot of the same issues. Played one of his worst games in a must-win situation against Louisville. I think that at the very least with these 2 guys, that you're in a position where they were both on par with what you got out of Riley Leonard and Sam Hartman. It'll be to be determined, though, and I think that there is a hope and there should be a belief that Carr develops into one of the better quarterbacks in college football because he's ready to start this early. So, no, I'm not worried. I think good competition means something. I'd be worried if they didn't announce a starter. I'd be worried if they came into week 1 against Miami and they said, we're going to go 2 quarterbacks, because I watched Brian Kelly do that with Brandon Wimbush and Deshaun Kaiser, and it was a freaking mess. So as long as they picked somebody, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and then the second guy wind up winning.
What do you mean when the Wimbush Kaiser
winning the job?
I don't remember.
Yeah, remember Kaiser
came well. I think he did.
Through, and if you remember, everybody, they went into Texas and lost the following year when Kaiser was there. If you remember,
because Wimbush went to Florida.
Yeah,
no. Zaire. I'm not thinking. Wait. I'm mixing them up. It's Malik Zaire and Deshaun Kaiser, not Brandon Wimbush and Deshaun Kaiser. Yeah, Zaire transferred to Florida. That's who it was.
Right. So you get to
bad quarterbacks.
Well, you get to a situation where, listen, if you're Miami, and the last thing I'll say on you, if you're Miami, you got to let Carr beat you through the air. You just got Jeremiah Love is the most important player on either team for this game. You got to let him beat you through the air. I mean, quite honestly, you got to go full Ohio State. You got to go bump and run on the outside and say, we're going to stack this box, and you're just going to have to beat us by throwing the football. That's it. It's as simple as that. I mean, I don't know if their game plan has – I mean, if I'm Miami, I can live with this kid coming in here and throwing the ball all over the place. What I can't live with, what I could not live with, would be allowing him and giving him cushion for easy throws.
The only thing, though, that I mean, the premise in itself is just typical how you prepare for a situation like this. But the only thing I'd say is circumstantially, you're coming in with a brand new secondary and a new defensive coordinator. So I don't know how much
but I got
say they'll have in the creativity of how they're going to go after CJ Carr.
There's no creativity in bump and run man-to-man coverage.
Well, but do we know that the current group is going to be able to win in one-on-one
you've been
man
hyping
coverage?
Up that secondary all off season. Now that they're playing Notre Dame, you can't not.
No. I've been hyping up Corey Heatherman to be a great defensive coordinator to fix this situation and all the new faces eventually to gel. But week one, I'm not saying he sucks, but week one is a bit of a tall task to ask those guys to win in one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Guys combined with 70-plus starts don't know what bump and run man-to-man coverage is, then that entire defensive staff needs to be fired after week one.
That's not what I'm presenting. I'm merely presenting that it is a risk to go man coverage and to focus all of your attention in the box. It is. And to what your point is, if CJ Carr ends up being just like a little bit better than they anticipate he will be coming into this game, it ends up opening up Notre Dame's entire offense.
Do it. Fine. Adjust.
I dare him to. I dare him to.
You got way too much confidence.
I don't have any confidence. Hold on. That's not blind confidence.
The way it's coming off from you, okay, is that, all right, well, y'all do that, and he's going to light you up.
That's not what I just said, though. Hold on. But that's not what I just said.
You said that's not what I said. Offense. If it's opening up the offense, it means he's going to light him up.
No. But that is not what I just said. All I just said was that if he finds success in one-on-one situations and an improved receiver room starts to get open, if you're able to connect in those situations and all your attention is diverted into stopping the run, those pass plays end up being big chunk plays. They don't end up just being small little hiccups, and that is going to end up freeing up the rest of the offense. I didn't present that CJ Carr is going to light them up, and I don't want anyone to think that I said that. I just think with a bunch of new DBs, I think it's a little risky.
I'm starting to lean the Hurricanes. I got.
Oh, stop it!
No, I'm serious.
All right, well, you can pick them next week, and when we do game picks.
I love getting you pissed off for no damn good reason. You will fight for Notre Dame. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I have to. Yeah, you fight for your team.
No, I don't. I literally said they were soft 2 weeks ago on the show up front. No, I don't.
I don't know if you said it exactly like that.
I mean, I guess I'm saying it now. All right. Very, very, very quickly. Anything on Prabula and Sam Horn?
Well, I kind of just alluded to this. I hate the concept of not picking a guy. I think that it kind of works because Prabula is very mobile and Sam Horn is not this same type of athlete that Prabula is. So there's a way to develop that balance. But I think you got to pick a player. I think that you brought in Prabula. You should give him a shot and you should just start him. I don't know who's actually performed better through practice to that point. But I hate this whole dual quarterback thing.
I would agree with you if they weren't facing off against Central Arkansas week one. An FCS opponent.
That's fair. Michigan did this with Cade McNamara and J.J. McCarthy.
Bingo, you took my take. Yeah. Hey, you know what? This is what we're going to do. This is why I feel like it's happening at Missouri for what it's worth. From what I've read, that locker room is split, and they're going out there saying, listen, we're not going to put this on the coaching staff. We're literally going to run out there and let both of them play, and then whoever wins, wins. I mean, listen, it's completely dual situations of who they are as players.
Yeah.
I don't think people in the college baseball world understand this. Joe, you're going to fall in love with Sam Horn as a thrower. You're just going to fall in love with him because he's everything that you want. I mean, he's 93, 94, 95. Sometimes in the middle of seasons, he was up to 97. I mean, he can throw that thing, okay? He will paint the black. If he can paint the black with a baseball, he can put it in some pretty accurate spots. Prabula's an athlete. They're going to see what works. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And I got to tell you this. Did you listen to Eli Drinkwitz, by the way, last week when he was asked about this? Just quickly,
No.
He said that I begged Sam Horn not to go into the baseball draft and come back for one more year of football, and I think he feels bad that if he got beat out. That's what I think.
Oh, that's actually a very good point. Yeah, no, there's probably a lot of truth to that. That he That would be effed if he sits the whole year and he decided to come back just for, unless Horn really loves being a part of the
I will
team.
tell you this. There's a really good friend of mine, really, really good friend of mine. His brother played for Eli at Missouri, was on scholarship. The kid was going to go in the portal because he thought he was going to be on scholarship the following year. Okay. He was a special teams kid. Okay. Long story short, Eli Drinkowitz tells the kid that he's going to remain on scholarship, so he doesn't need to go in the portal. He's going to be their guy. Literally, the portal closes in the spring. Scholarship pulled.
Pulls the. Oh my God.
Yes.
That's effed. I hope that's not true.
oh, I know for 1,000% like I'm not bullshitting. It happened. The kid's in the portal. The kid is literally in the portal. So he said he had to sit out a whole year.
That's awful.
I know.
Yeah, he's got bad.
I say that to say this. Eli has done some stuff like that, and it's been pretty shitty. So, all right. We do have a super chat here, Joe. Alex with a $2 super chat says, hashtag start the car is the lamest thing ever. Is that the hashtag?
I haven't seen it. This is the first time I'm seeing it. What does Julian Sand have, Alex? Tell us what Julian Sand has.
Saying
I'd love to know.
Ain't so. I saw that. Hashtag
is that what it is?
So. Yeah, like 10 days
okay.
saying that ain't so.
Okay. I don't want to hear that ours is lame and the saying one's better.
I don't think it's bad.
I don't think they're good.
I mean, how about this? We just want football so bad, and we get it on Saturday. I could really give a shit.
That's all I care about. That's the
all right. Let's get to it here. Joe, Colorado, we continue on our week 1 previews, part 1's here. Tonight we go to the great state of Colorado as Georgia Tech is coming into town in week 1 to face off against the Colorado Buffs. When you look at this game with all of the differences between both of these teams from last season, your thoughts?
This is one of the few instances, Blake, that I'm not going to be able to provide a direct pick at the current moment on FanDuel.
Boo.
Tech, you never get picks when we do these segments. Georgia Tech is favored on FanDuel -3.5 in this game, despite going on the road to Boulder for this matchup. That, to me, by the way, is the first big piece with this. I brought up during the previews for Georgia Tech and Colorado that Georgia Tech, as of late, has not had success traveling that far west. I don't believe that they've won a game in some time having to travel as far as to going to Boulder to play a game. Both of these teams, to me, have advantages that set them up to win. Jamal Haynes and Haynes King, dynamic rushing duo in a situation for them to get hot like they did against Florida State. Trelane Maddox is a guy that I was reading about that sounds like is going to be another player in the mix running the ball, a big body, 6'2" kid who could be fantastic. And it's also worth noting, and I know it was just last year, but Cam Miller, North Dakota State's quarterback, had 81 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he's not as good of an athlete as Haynes King. I'm keeping track, though, of how this receiver room for Georgia Tech of Eric Rivers and Malik Rutherford, and it sounds like Isaiah Canyon is doing some great things. It could be the next big guy up. They lost Eric Singleton, but this receiver room is still loaded, going up against a very quality Colorado secondary led by DJ McKinney, who very well could be a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL draft. I think that with those balances and the hope that Colorado runs the ball more effectively with Caden Salter, this will be a hard-fought battle. I think the real tipping point is what does the defensive line do for Colorado going up against what's been a pretty reliable and physical offensive line presence for Georgia Tech. You're going to need some big games from some unexpected names if you want to be able to step up and stop this rushing attack. That, to me, is the biggest starting point for this conversation.
Joe, I think this game is simple as football becomes. Georgia Tech is not a team in the last 2 years that if you're not physical up front, that you can lay down against. You went out, if you're Colorado, in the portal and got a lot of big names along your offense and defensive line. You went at left guard and got Xavier Hill that a lot of SEC teams wanted. You went out and got Jaheim Otis at defensive tackle. Okay? Last year, I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. You were 130th in the country in rushing. Kane Salter very well may be able to provide you with a situation where he's a big part of this run game and it really gets going. However, Joe, Colorado's biggest struggles have come up front. Let's call it what it is. Their offensive line and defensive lines have not played up to par of where they needed to be for them to have the success that I think ultimately people wanted Colorado to have. Georgia Tech is a physical, downhill, cutthroat team built off of the culture of Brent Key. You want to find out what your culture is about? You want to find out if you got a tough locker room and some tough-ass dudes? Georgia Tech is the number one team that you could go up against. Joe, we saw Eric Singleton or not, we saw Haynes King. We saw Hayes. We saw all of these dudes go into a game against Georgia last year at the end of the regular season and literally go punch for punch. I get it. Eric Singleton's not there. A couple of defensive guys are no longer there. But their core nucleus, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, their core nucleus of dudes up front, Joe, they return. And the question that I have in this game in week one, I'm going to be glued to this one because I think that Georgia Tech's going to come out there swinging. Did you hear Brent Key's press conference, by the way, this week?
No, I didn't catch it.
Called their practice, and I'm quoting, shitty. We ain't no good. We ain't practicing good. We ain't got good players. No, I didn't say good players. He goes, we practice like shit. We're going to get beat. No, I've heard coaches do this before. It means he knows they're going to be damn good, and they're getting them after it. Here's the thing with Haynes King. We picked fun of Haynes along the way on this show. Last year, he did the biggest thing that nobody anticipated him doing. He went from 14 interceptions to 4. And I understand he was hurt. Joe, he led them to some serious wins and to overtime against Georgia. He was the main reason, while being hurt, that Miami got knocked off by them. Joe, there were 3 fourth-down runs while being hurt that he came in there and put his head down and got first downs. Colorado's culture has been built on having some superstars and electrifying players, and they do right now. And no one can deny that. It's a completely different style of team and completely different style of culture of the two teams that are facing off. And, Joe, I'm just going to tell you this. If you don't bring your lunch pail, Georgia Tech is going to punch you right in your mouth. And I got to be real with you. They will play ball control. We all know this. Joe, all right, you better not play around with them. I got to be real with you. I know we're basing a lot of this off of what they did a season ago, and they have some big departures. Not up front a lot. They got some, but not a lot. You lay down against them, they're going to keep coming at you every single play, and you better be ready for it.
I think that there's a good point to be had there.
I know.
It felt like they got gutted this offseason, but there is a lot of truth to a lot of underrated players that are coming back. They've got a very solid linebacker core as well. They are going to do a lot of the things that North Dakota State did. A lot of similar styles, a lot of misdirection in the run game, a lot of just trying to run down your throat. But the difference is that Georgia Tech's roster is more talented than North Dakota State's. I currently still, though, lean in favor of Colorado. The trip is difficult. The altitude is difficult to adjust to. And as we've said before, this is the deepest roster that Deion Sanders has had at Colorado. It might not have the big-name stars in Travis Hunter and in Shedeur Sanders, but you're still bringing back one of the best corners in the country in DJ McKinney. Omarion Miller is a player who could step up and be highly productive. This whole receiver room has depth. And I think that their defensive line room has underrated players as well outside of Jaheim Otis, who we've talked about. Quincy Wiggins and Amari Anquan Barnes is who I meant to reference. Barnes is getting hyped up by Warren Sapp this week on what I was reading in one of the practice reports that I found. I think that there could be an opportunity here, as you're talking about. If you're trying to set the tone as a program, against Georgia Tech is where you're going to do it. Last year, Florida State did the complete opposite. They overlooked their opponent. They did not realize that they were going to get punched in the mouth. And when they got knocked on their ass, they didn't get up. I think that Colorado is going to have a lot different of a tone. And I think that we saw last year that they did an effective job against North Dakota State of rallying and finishing. There's going to be a degree of explosiveness that I think that they have at receiver that can set them up for success to beat this Georgia Tech secondary. That, to me, on the flip side of things, I think is where the Colorado advantage is with Caden Salter if he can get into a rhythm.
Let's flip to Colorado there because you bring up a good point. I know what I want to say. I don't know how to say it because where does Colorado ultimately want to go? I'm assuming they want to contend for a Big 12 title. And if you do that, you're contending for a playoff spot. So, all right, so let's go there. Again, it's the same take, but from a different angle. Joe, you better be able to go out there and run the football. I mean, it is a bottom line fact. I think that at skill, whether it be receiver, DB, etc., Colorado by far is more talented than Georgia Tech.
Wait. I wouldn't say by far because Jamal Haynes is incredibly one of the best running backs in the country.
Sure. But if you're talking about skill.
Actually, well, I push back on that too because
Braylon,
I think
you have you just said that they have a potential first round corner. Haynes is not going in the first round.
That is true, but I think that this receiver room there's not like a huge gap. The receiver room for Georgia Tech is very underrated, and I would say it's a slight step below what Colorado has, just a slight step. Now that separation.
You got to replace Eric Singleton first for me to do that. I just think they're better at skill. I think they're far and away more athletic. Way more far than athletic. Regardless if we agree or disagree on the semantics of that part. Joe, you can't keep playing the way you're playing offensively. It's not going to lead you to the success against a team like this. When you're going to have to throw some counter shots in the run game. It is a bottom line. You're going to have to control some things. Defensively, look, I think Jaheim Otis is good. I think their front seven will be a lot better. I do think it's the best overall roster that they've had. There also comes a point in time where, look, I know that you're facing off against a physical team. I kind of got to see you do it. You can go out there high flying and trying to do what you've been doing, and that's fine. I don't know, man. You're going to have to – look, do they have the talent to do it? Do they have a talent to be a Big 12 contender? Excuse me. Yes. I kind of just need to see them do it first because you had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback or Heisman Trophy winning DB / receiver, utility guy, and a lot of people who thought you had a quarterback that should have been a first-round pick. Joe, it's a lot to replace.
Yeah.
But here's the X factor for me. I say all that to say this. I think Caden Salter is one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country. I do. I think what happened last year with him is everybody left him at liberty. And so we forgot about what he did in 2023. We forgot how athletic he was. We forgot how many rushing yards he had. We forgot how accurate at times he was. Then his entire offense left. Hugh Freeze is gone. His entire team's gone. His number one receiver's gone. His number one receiver's at Miami. Was at LSU, now at Miami. Everybody left him. He couldn't leave because of academic reasons. And now all of a sudden people are saying, well, Caden Salter had a bad year. He had nobody. Joe, the reason I lean Colorado is their new quarterback. And I believe that much in Caden Salter. I think overall, as a team, he could lead them to better success versus what they did a season ago.
That's also part of this for me. I'm a big believer in Caden Salter, and this is going to be a real opportunity for him to prove the talent that he brings to the table. Does he come out of the gate swinging? Does he come out on fire? Does he have an amazing performance? And then we're buzzing on Friday night about Colorado's got a next great quarterback taking over for Deion Sanders, and Caden Salter's his name. I want to just bring up one point that you just brought up there about how the play style has to be different. And I think that especially applies against Georgia Tech. The Big 12 does not have teams of this style. Last year, and you mentioned this a second ago, this specific game, Georgia Tech's biggest win, one of their biggest wins last season, was against Miami. They beat Miami because Miami could not control the ball. They could not, and this was their fault the entire season, they could not drain the clock. They could not just run the ball and lean on the run game. They kept trying to take shots and to outscore them, and it failed.
I don't know if they couldn't, they wouldn't.
Well, both. Let's go with both.
Okay, fair.
I would like to see Colorado in this game not fall for the Georgia Tech trap. And the trap is taking the bait of thinking that you can outscore them. You definitely can. You beat Georgia Tech in a shootout, and they know that. They're going to try and slow the game down as much as possible. They're going to try and control every possession as much as possible. All it takes in a situation like that, when they're running the ball and slowing things down, it takes one mistake, one turnover, and that's how they win. So they did against Miami. So they did against Florida State. That to me is like another big swinging point for this game, Blake, is that we need to see a different approach. You don't have to do what Shedeur Sanders did. Your offensive line should be better than last year.
I think they are.
Salter, yeah, I think that it is. And I think that Caden Salter, with this deep running back room, or at least quality running back room, will be able to actually orchestrate an effective rushing attack. From what I've seen and from what some Colorado folks have DM'd me, it sounds like there's going to be a completely different approach to the rushing attack. That, to me, I think is really, really critical.
Let me throw out one thing to you. There was a team last year that clipped Georgia Tech early in the season that had the same level of style as what we've seen from Colorado. It's Syracuse. Kyle McCord in that game, if you remember, I think it was on a Friday night, went 32 of 46 for 381 yards and 4 touchdowns. Here's the problem with that. Joe, they had 15 carries by Allen for 83 yards. They ran the ball for more yardage than Georgia Tech. Even though they threw the ball around so much, they were effective in the second half by killing the clock. They held on to the football for 37 minutes in that game, did Syracuse. It wasn't Syracuse's game to do that early in the season. It's not what they did. They wanted to throw the ball all over the place. What did they do in the second half? They literally just kept handing the ball off because they knew Georgia Tech would get in their own way, and they weren't explosive enough to throw the ball enough that if they got out early and kind of killed the clock, got third down conversions, they were 10 of 17, they were going to win this thing. So I would just say there is a style that you can still have your own core principles, but the main fact of the teams that Georgia Tech got in battles with, like Miami, to your point, and guess who else? Georgia. What was our biggest complaint with Georgia and Georgia Tech last year? Start running the football. You were tweeting in all caps. Give the ball to Etienne. They ultimately win when they give him 4 straight carries and he gets in on 3 of them. Joe, I just ended with this. You better change your style offensively to some degree. You got to start running the football. If they do, I think they're going to win. But Georgia Tech's going to come in there and punch you in the mouth. It's their culture too. So could this be a match early? And listen, stopping Haynes King, there are better teams in Colorado that couldn't. We've seen better teams than Colorado that could not slow down Haynes King.
Right. So
those are the two things. I think they can do it, but man, it's a tough team to battle.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to give my FanDuel pick
just
yet for this one. I'm going to wait until next week.
We ain't got to.
No. I got a pick for the next one, though.
All right. Let's get to the next one. Joe, Virginia Tech versus South Carolina, week 1. Your thoughts heading into this game?
Man, I remember last year at one point when we thought Virginia Tech had some teeth and that they could do some damage. Oh, man, things have completely fallen from grace.
We are never wrong. Either coaches or players screw it up. Our takes are never.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
On FanDuel, South Carolina is favored -7.5. And quite frankly, that's going to be one of my locks of the week. 7.5 points. They're only favored by 7.5 points against Virginia Tech. Blake, this Virginia Tech team got gutted. Xavier Chaplin, Mansour DeLeone, they left in the transfer portal to go to the SEC. Dorian Strong and Bashal Tootin, as well as a number of other guys, moved on to the NFL and were drafted. All these guys that were supposed to be driving forces for their success in the ACC last year, gone. Kyron Drones is your last remaining hope, and I don't even know if he can get the job done. Here's what I want to see from South Carolina. That's the more important talking point, because I think they win this game by 10, 14, maybe even more points than that. We know that LaNorris Sellers is going to be impossible to tackle and that he's going to play well. Is the offensive line improved? Do they give him more time? How does LaNorris Sellers play with more time? I think all those things are accomplishable to be seen in this first game. I want to know what this defensive line does, Blake, because with a lot of new faces, and we know DJ Stewart's a dude, who steps up? Is Brian Thomas Jr., the other Brian Thomas Jr., a guy that can produce opposite of Dylan Stewart? It's possible. With one-on-one opportunities, it's possible. I'm intrigued what the secondary does as well, because I think that it's easy to assume that they lost people, but Judge Collier, Jalen Kilgore, DQ Smith is a nasty secondary.
Kilgore will literally hurt somebody.
Yeah. Last one, or last part with this. Rasul Faison, it's uncertain right now if he's going to be eligible. But I have been pounding the table for Isaiah Augustove since he was at Arkansas and then went to Colorado, and then he had this tricky path to get to South Carolina. I have been pounding the table for this kid. He is so physical, and he is so fun to watch. I think that he is so perfect for what South Carolina wants to do running the football, and he can mirror a lot of things what Rocket Sanders did. So all of these things set up for what could be a hot start to the season, and it comes out of a confident win over Virginia Tech.
You ready for my take?
Are you going to completely counter me?
No. Oh, heavens, okay. No. You ready?
Okay.
LaNorris Sellers.
That's the take.
It's the take. You want me to give you my second take?
Yep.
LaNorris Sellers. Would you like for me to give you my third and fourth?
Go ahead.
The quarterback that wears glasses.
Well, he doesn't wear them anymore.
Clark Kent was wearing glasses in that SEC documentary. Yes, he was. He was wearing them. He was wearing.
Well, I don't think he's wearing them to play anymore.
He was. I don't care. When it come off,
redact my statement. I'm not talking about his glasses anymore.
I will, because here it is. When my man took them off, Superman came out. It is of my opinion that he is, and I've said this, from just an overall athlete, freak, whatever your verbiage that you want to use, he's him. Joe, there was one player in college football's history since this was charted to break over 150 tackles in the month of November. That man's getting his number retired at the University of Auburn. His name was Cam Newton. Wasn't guys like Tim Tebow, whatever. It was a guy by the name of Cam Newton. Pro Football Focus. There's a new leader in that clubhouse in the month of November with broken tackles. His name was LaNorris Sellers. Go watch Clemson. Go watch whatever film you want to. Go watch A&M. Go watch him absolutely abuse first-round defensive tackles and stiff arm into the ground. Joe, look, in this specific game, that dude can put him on his back and do what he needs to do. Now, there are some real takes that I have. Shula's your new OC. What does that remotely look like? The thing coming out of camp with South Carolina has been simple. They have loved what they've seen from him from out of the pocket. Camp talk is camp talk. I don't know what to make of it. I'm not there. If that is true, I don't think Shula's been a bad offensive guy. I think he's been remotely good. He's been there with them. They know him. LaNorris Sellers came out and said, listen, I have more of a connection with Shula than probably any other coach on this staff. And he didn't say it, mean it like anything derogatory. He just talked about the confidence that he had in him. There is a question, though. If Virginia Tech does find a way to figure some things out, I don't know if they can. Joe, what is Nick Harbor? What is this run game? You brought up the offensive line. Those all can be concerns. When is he going to get some help? Do you have those weapons for him? Joe, their leading receiver last year was a tight end. A tight end. So can you give him help? You don't have we don't know if you have. Let me rephrase that. We don't know if you have that second punch at running back yet. We think you could, but we don't know. I don't think in this game it remotely matters because I think LaNorris Sellers continues to go off. Joe, there's not a lot of things you got to do with him. I mean, again, we've seen him. He would have to have taken such a massive step back for us to not get what we witnessed at the end of last season. He would. Now, Joe, he didn't have a lot of people around him against Illinois. Didn't have some receivers, didn't have a running back, didn't have some offensive linemen, and they got beat. Because when you put it all on his shoulders, it did falter a little. And, well, Nick Emmanwori was gone. Virginia Tech's not Illinois, okay?
No.
But I think this kid's got a chip on his shoulder. I am going to continue to say this as long as people allow me to say this on a platform. I just think he's super special, man. I really do. You can't, it's straight God-given ability. The last thing I'd say with this, I just thought his decision-making got so much better as the season went on. Joe, I feel like something clicked in the middle of the season for him. He had 6 turnovers in the middle of the season. Joe, it went down after Bama. He had one. By the way, it got tipped. It wasn't even on him. If he picks it up, Joe, I think they're going to route him. Here's a better question. What does FanDuel know that we don't? Are they just skeptical of this? Here would be the only thing that I would throw out there. Remember that Old Dominion game? They were in a dogfight with Old Dominion.
Yeah, but that was before they found their identity and all that stuff. I just chalked this up to, and I always start the college football season hot with my betting. Last year, I was 70% in the month of September, and then I came down to kind of like a normal mean after I went hovering around 50. I think I ended up being like 59%, which is a great number to have. The reason why I do so well is that these lines are often wrong. Games like this that are not the big primetime games, the lines are wrong. I constantly reject the notion that Vegas knows something that we don't. Vegas makes a lot of mistakes. Vegas is wrong all the time. It's not right as often as everyone thinks that it is. It tries to be as correct as possible. I think that this is honestly a slap in the face that South Carolina is only favored by 8 points.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, here's the thing. I agree with you. And the problem is that I don't see a world where they don't cover. Okay. Like I don't really envision it. And then you know what happens? They win by 3. Somehow, some way. I mean, it just happens. But look,
they would need to be incredibly mistake prone.
Like they were against Old Dominion.
But this isn't old. Again, I don't want to use that as context for what they're going to do in week 1, because that was when they were completely out of their element and they didn't know what they were. They didn't know what they could lean in.
For Sellers. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I'm with you.
They know who they are. They're replacing some key names, but they know who they are. They know who their leader is. They know that who they need to turn to trust. And I think they're pretty confident in themselves coming off of the season that they had last year. So
they better figure it out. Well, they better figure it out at receiver. I mean, listen, again, I think Nick Harbor is a freak of nature. Being a freak of nature at receiver means absolutely nothing. Hunter Renfro's not a freak of nature, and you got what's his name for the Chargers, Derwin James.
Yeah.
They're asking him like, "Hey, who's the one of the better wide receivers?" This dude rolls out here and says Hunter Renfro, and they say, they make fun of him and go, the encyclopedia salesman. He's like, "Shit, y'all better put some respect on his name." Being an athlete at that position, just because he's that level of a freak doesn't mean he's going to go off. He quit track. He's playing football. They got other real big name receivers that they just could not get the ball to. If LaNorris has figured out some things that he can do in the pocket and get away with, they could be dangerous. But the last thing I'd say, defensively, we haven't even talked about Virginia Tech. Offensively, Joe, some of these guys have been starting on the O-line since they were true freshmen. I do think they got better at the end of the year. Here's what I'd say. Rocket Sanders ran through some gaping holes against Clemson. We don't think Clemson's front seven sucked. So somebody got moved. They were moving somebody. So, look, we'll see there. Defensively, Joe, I got to be real with you on something. I think they take a step back up front. Tonka Hemingway and the boys.
It's fair. It's fair.
I know Dylan Stewart is a freak of nature, his damn self. But it also comes to a situation where you had some interior defensive linemen and Nick Emmanwori that saved you on a lot of shit. I do think Kilgore, though, does take a next step. I would not want to be a Virginia Tech skill player when he's in the general area. Let me ask you this, though. Virginia Tech. Anything that
his team was gutted.
The whole time.
Pry is on his last leg. He's going to get fired. This is an awful game. They have an awful schedule. I think they have another SEC opponent.
Vandy, right?
No, I think they might have Tennessee.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Vandy.
I'm going to double check that, but no, it's not Vandy. No, it is Vandy. They have Vandy in week 1 or in week 2. I don't think that this team has any redeeming qualities. They had some really good players, man, and they're all gone. Last year was the year to capture the momentum, and they blew it, and they haven't recruited well. This is once a program, and I really think the right coach goes to Virginia Tech, and they actually start to win because there are so many good recruits that are in the state of Maryland, in the state of Virginia, that they could just pull every single year. This is going to be the beginning of the end.
All right, last thing for me on this game. Where did Shane Bieber's dad coach?
Virginia Tech.
Did you see the SEC documentary by chance?
I have not. I've been distracted by watching the Cowboys documentary.
All right. In the documentary, Shane Beamer says, I adore Virginia Tech. I grew up in that place. It will always have a special place in my heart. You know what else he said? I'm never known as Shane. I'm known as Baby Beamer. He's going to try to push every single button to run this thing up. Every single one of them. Because I think when they hired Pry and they hired that staff, I think he wanted that job and they didn't give it to him. The bottom line remains, Shane Beamer's a lot of people have said a lot of things about Shane Beamer. He's goofy, he does, all this kind of crazy shit. If he has found who he is, he's going to come out here and show it against his dad's old team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's going to run it up. If he gets the opportunity, and listen, his bona fide quarterback, boy, he had a lot of great things to say about his head coach. I feel like when he took a shot on LaNorris Sellers, he's repaying the favor for him. Joe, I'm going well more than 7.5.
Yeah, I'm taking them. That's going to be one of my locks next week. I'm taking South Carolina to cover on FanDuel.
Me too. All right. Before we get out of here, we got some picks we need to get to. Joe, week 0 is among us, and we got some games that we need to pick. Here are 3 games that we are going to get to in week 0. Joe, Kansas State versus Iowa State. We're both going with the Kansas State Wildcats.
Yeah, very quickly, -3.5 point favorite on FanDuel. We talked about this in the preview. I don't know what to expect from Rocco Becht with two 1,100-yard receivers gone to the NFL. His completion percentage, his touchdown interception ratio is the same as with Avery Johnson. The team that runs the ball better in this game will win. I trust Avery Johnson to get the ground game going for Kansas State. So give me Kansas State to cover that 3.5-point spread.
If they wouldn't have come out last night, I would have said some really nice words about Iowa State. I hope you get absolutely abused. I hope they get absolutely abused now.
I do too. AK taking shots at us, yeah.
I hope you get absolutely abused. I'm going with Kansas State. Stanford at Hawaii. Hawaii, I can't believe I'm saying this, is -2.5 on FanDuel.
Somehow.
Stanford just lost a lot. Coaching staff turnover. Frank Reich. I mean, we're both going with Stanford here, but I have no idea what to go with this one.
I might take Stanford money line because as much as that there's like a really hard turnover and it's been a tough offseason, Hawaii's not good. Wait, what? We really think that Hawaii is going to have more firepower than a P4 team? They're fine.
I mean, it is Stanford.
I don't think Stanford's that bad. I think that's I can't pick Hawaii in this situation where there's been a lot of situations where they could have capably won their first games of the season and they've struggled. I'm sticking with Stanford. They'll probably not win any other games, but I'm sticking with Stanford.
I agree with you. I'm there too. Fresno State at Kansas. Kansas is -12.5 on FanDuel. We're both going with the Jayhawks here, Joe.
Yeah, another G5 versus P4 matchup. I think that this is the start of Jalen Daniels having a pretty quality season and Jayhawks picking up a little bit of momentum. If I can get them to win by more than 2 touchdowns, I'm going to take it. I believe was EJ Warner is the starting quarterback.
Yes, Kurt Warner's son is going to be a starting quarterback for Fresno,
which is a little interesting. But if my main focus with things like this though, when I'm not picking a G5 team or when I'm picking in a situation with a G5 team that wasn't a premier G5 team last year, and the spread is less than 2 touchdowns, I'm taking the Power 4 team to cover. I'm taking Kansas.
As someone on College Football 26 who picked Fresno as his first place to go, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but Florida offered me. Florida, yeah, and I asked
the Florida job.
No, I haven't done anything with it yet. The LSU fans would have killed me if I did that. I probably should just not have said anything. This Warner kid can sling it though. He can sling it.
He's been a decent player. He was okay at Temple. I think that it's Fresno State. I think Kansas needs to try and gain as much momentum early. They're going to have a little bit of a tough schedule this year.
Can Jalen Daniels stay healthy?
I know it's a question we've had. He's like 30 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to draw AARP before I am, as old as he is.
So
but we are going with Kansas. All right, we do have 2 super chats in here. Elks with a $2 super chat says going #Super Saiyan.
That's a lot cooler than what you said. That's better than start the car, but I don't think that it's much better.
How about we stop the hashtags?
I don't disagree with that. It is 2025. Hashtags are meaningless on social.
Unless you're on YouTube's algorithm. That's near here. Sure. Titan with a $5 super chat says Blake with a new setup. No, we're at a good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media and Service Hawk Digital Marketing. My internet's down in the other studio, so I had to figure some things out. But shout out, how about this? National shout out for our good friends Justin and Lee over at Service Hawk. How about that?
I'm glad that you had this backup setup because I would have been very sad if we couldn't do a show tonight. I'll just say that.
You know what? If you want to hear a 17-minute rant, go over to AYS in literally 10 minutes because I'm about to go stupid on Spectrum.
Oh, I can't wait.
We will see y'all on Sunday. We will come back and we'll give you our week 0 reviews. Joseph, we are here. We finally made it. Congratulations. We have college football this week.
I couldn't be more excited. It's surreal.
Me too. It's going to be fun. All right, buddy. We'll see you soon. Peace. My mouse doesn't work. You're going to have to get us out of here.